And then that warm-up headed into next week, not looking too bad. Temperatures a little bit closer to average for this time of year. I think Thursday and Friday, as I zoom away, look a little bit better. But again, the weather alert day for Tuesday and Wednesday is in effect. Thinking more after the evening commute on Tuesday, but I don't want people to let their guard down. Again, we saw what happened on Friday. Things can get messy really quick. Take it slow tomorrow evening and Wednesday morning.
Just like you scooted over here, the snow can just scoot in at any time, all right?
And get on out.
Prepared. All right, great to have you back. Thanks, Luke. And we'll be right back with...
Now, and as you're headed out the door on Tuesday, as I mentioned, some slow improvements, but it's going to be breezy all day. Guys, it's been even worse in February. Just a measly 18% of our days so far in the month have had sunshine, and then 82% seeing partly to mostly cloudy skies upon the moon. And that's that kind of reddish color we're going to be getting into tomorrow before that begins to end by the time we get to about 1 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then the moon goes back to its normal self. Right around 24.5 feet, so still a little bit of ways to go, and likely seeing these waters continuing to rise. We can take 2006 and push it back to spot number 4 as 2019 takes number 3 north. Heavy snowfall across central portions of Iowa through southern Minnesota. Wind-driven snow as well. Many reports of blizzard conditions all across the central plains today. Nothing like that here in mid-Missouri. Likely going to be dealing with temperatures at or below average as we close out the month. And look at that 7-day forecast. There's no snow. There's very few readings that are below freezing. It looks great.
So Luke, how many days exactly is it till spring?
It's the 20th, so whatever day today is, and I can't remember what the 13th? 14th. It's 14th. 6 days.
6 days.
Less than a week.
Yes, I can't wait. And coming up, another Democrat.
I did some digging online and found that flooding is the most common type of natural disaster that affects people in the United States. Between 2005 and 2014, flooding cost Americans over $31 billion in damages. And no, it's not hurricanes. It's not tornadoes. Following extreme heat waves, flooding is the deadliest weather-related event in the United States. Low. Again, that widespread frost is the main issue as you head out the door. And giving yourself an extra 5 or so minutes as you head out the door is going to be a good idea, because it's going to be a thick layer of frost, similar to what we saw earlier on this morning. Not too much of a nuisance, but enough that you're going to need to give yourself a little bit of extra time early on tomorrow morning.
City streets and sidewalks.
Kelsey, I can see it now on TLC. Scooter wars breaking out across America.
We have a lot of scooters on the streets.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. I remember over the past several months, going out on runs and just seeing bird scooters on the sidewalk just laying there like, come on, guys, if we're going to have these, we might as well take care of them. It's definitely a convenience to have, but we got to make sure that we are using it responsibly. As we head into Tuesday, we're going to be tracking those clouds continuing to build. Of course, you'll want to stick with us here on ABC 17. Aaron Morrison will be here early tomorrow morning covering more of that storm system. And of course, more reporting and more on the heavy snowfall that will continue throughout the morning hours. For now, reporting live in Columbia, Luke Victor, ABC 17 News.
But Luke, it's not just snow you're tracking. There's also a blast of Arctic air crashing its way into mid-Mo as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a double barrel of impacts as we head into the next 48 hours here across mid-Missouri. The first impact we're going to be seeing is that moderate to heavy accumulating snowfall that will occur as we head into the morning hours and then into the early afternoon by the time we get to Sunday afternoon. And then following that, we're watching dangerous cold build into the area through Monday, and that's why we have the weather alert days for tomorrow and into Monday as well. You can see clouds continue to stream across the region as our storm system, this thing is rocketing across the United States. It was off the coast of California earlier this morning, and it's already making its way into I-70 along Kansas. This is all going to be making its way towards mid-Missouri over the next several hours, and because of that, winter weather advisories have been posted by the National Weather Service. These go in effect overnight tonight and will last through the early afternoon hours on Sunday. And overnight tonight, we see those temperatures not really budging all that much. We drop down into the lower 20s, and then that moderate snow begins to increase with that heaviest snow arriving by the time we get to sunrise tomorrow. And not only that, we're going to be watching those winds kick up as well. And that's going to help blow that snow around, reduce some visibilities, and then create for the potential for snow to blow back onto the roadways, creating icy conditions possibly even after the snow stops falling into tomorrow afternoon. But as you're waking up, we're kind of advising you at this point to stay off the roadways. You remember what happened 2 Fridays ago where things deteriorated within minutes and several accidents reported across the state of Missouri, and that will likely be the case as we head into tomorrow as well. With those temperatures in the lower 20s, the road salt that MoDOT pushes out is not going to be quite as efficient. We can see this snowfall tracking into the area as early as 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock this morning, and then that moderate snow band sets up right along Interstate 70 through the Highway 50 corridor, and that will continue to push its way off to the east. And then again, by the time we get to the early afternoon hours, we see that snow shut off, but those winds blowing that snow around. Icy patches can be expected on side roads and even on interstates as well. So hazardous road conditions last throughout the majority of the day tomorrow. That heaviest snow band, again, anywhere between 5 and 9 a.m. is when we're expecting it to fall at the heaviest, and then 3 to 4 inches of snow falling along the Interstate 70 corridor, 1 to 3 farther to the north. And again, those higher amounts down to the south. I'll be breaking down a little bit more on the road impacts coming up in my next full forecast. Well, the weather alert day issued by the ABC 17 Storm Track weather team, again, is going to be continuing through Sunday, and that's due to snow that's going to be falling that's going to create moderate to maybe even high impacts as we head out on the roads tomorrow morning. It's best if you just stay inside tomorrow, because we're also going to be dealing with much colder temperatures, and that's going to lead to slicker roads. One of the reasons we see that is because road salt is 75 to 80% less effective between the temperatures of 30 and 20 degrees. So whenever we have those snowstorms, when it's right around the freezing mark, you may notice the roads become wet a lot easier and become slushier a lot easier, and it's usually easier to navigate. That's because 1 pound of salt at 30 degrees melts up to 46 pounds of ice. But check out what happens if you take that air temperature and drop it 10 degrees. You go from 1 pound of salt melting 46 pounds of ice all the way down to just 9 pounds of ice. And we're going to be dealing with temperatures in the low 20s for most of the day tomorrow. You can see high temperatures across the region in the lower 20s, and we're likely going to be dropping those temperatures throughout the day as Arctic cold air continues to filter into the region. And with that, we're also going to be seeing some pretty strong winds as well, upwards of 20 to 25 miles an hour at times. Thankfully, that snow looks to taper off by the afternoon hours, so those road impacts should begin to improve. But through Sunday morning, major interstates and state highways will likely be treacherous, and then state routes and neighborhood roadways, untreated roads, and parking lots going to be a total mess as we head through the morning hours. But as we head into the afternoon hours, things should slowly begin to improve, especially on the interstates and state highways. We get a little bit of potentially even some sunshine tomorrow afternoon, peeking through some of the cloud cover. But we see these winds tomorrow, upwards of 25 miles an hour at times. That's going to create wind chills in the single digits, but it's also going to blow that snow back onto the roads. What we usually see, especially in these situations, we'll see tomorrow, the snow will fall, it'll stick to the roads, but MoDOT will come through, they'll clear off the roadways. But what happens is that snow that's on the side near in the grassy surfaces, that'll blow back onto the roadways, and then that will create little patches of ice as it begins to melt and then continually refreeze with those bitter cold temperatures, creating for some icy spots certainly on roadways, on interstates, and especially side roads and those neighborhood roads as well throughout the day. So even when the snow is done falling, we may see road impacts as well. And these temperatures are certainly going to cause for some road impacts, as we'll be well into the single digits by early on Monday morning, creating for some likely slick spots. Check out these wind chills for Monday. This is 7 a.m. Minus 13 degrees in Columbia, and minus 15 to minus 20 can be expected. That kind of cold, Sarah, takes about 25 to 30 minutes for frostbite to start on exposed skin. Thankfully, we see that warm up through the middle of the week.
All right, thanks so much, Luke.